movie was about.
Lights, camera, action is going down. For my ATL movies, when we run this town with your host, T-Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. T-Will, T-Will. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. T-Will, T-Will. Every frame we capture is a real deal. Yeah. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine. Behind the lens.
Welcome, movie fans. It's your host, T-Will, and my guy, Jordan Burton here. And we're here today talking Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy. Coming soon to a garden near you. No, we're talking Guardians of the Galaxy today, and should be a whole lot of fun. We are on a quest, so we here at For My ATL Sports One, that's me and Jordan, are on what we call the Doomsday Hourglass. Jordan, would you like to tell our fans what the Doomsday Hourglass is?
Well, I mean, Avengers Doomsday is going to be happening in December, and we're doing this rewatch and stuff. And you know, when we were planning this, we were planning to get it past Doomsday, but we're gonna get there. Finish our entire Marvel rewatch just in time for Avengers Doomsday. So that hourglass, that Doomsday hourglass, all that sand is coming down. The time is running down. And we'll be ready once we're done all of these rewatches, shows, presentations, movies. We will be ready for Avengers Doomsday in December. I can't wait.
So it sounds like we just sped up the clock on this, and we're going to be doing about 3 movies or 3 series a week to get there. You're saying that we're going to get to everything in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that has occurred before Doomsday, literally before Doomsday. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
wow.
So in March and May, we're gonna try and get 3 projects done per week. Obviously, this entire time we're gonna be in chronological order. But March and May will be Marvel March, Marvel May, whatever you want to call them. At some points, we'll do 2 projects a week, but otherwise it'll be 1 project a week going forward after May. And when Spider-Man Brand New Day comes out, that will be where we divulge from the actual timeline and do like current events. Same thing with the Punisher presentation, which comes out somewhere before Spider-Man Brand New Day. We'll attack that. And we know Daredevil Born Again Season 2 comes out in March, but wouldn't make sense for us to review that and then, especially since it's a weekly show, and then go back to it later on. So when we get to Daredevil Born Again Season 1 in October or November, 2 weeks after that, after Captain America Brave New World, and between Brave New World and Thunderbolts, we will be watching Daredevil Born Again Season 2, which we found out earlier this week. Daredevil Born Again Season 2 takes place 6 months after Season 1.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense.
And then who knows when Vision Quest is even going to happen. I was talking to someone about that earlier today. I'm like, I don't know when Vision Quest is coming out. Do I know what's even happening in the show? No. I heard Ultron might show up. I heard Ultron's wife might show up. I heard Wanda might show up. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't think it's going to be released. That's my own personal opinion. But everybody else thinks it's going to. So whenever Vision Quest happens, we will end up reviewing that too.
So Guardians of the Galaxy was released May 5th, 2017. It was directed by James Gunn. And when I first saw it, I thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think it was better than the first one because the whole my dad's a celestial and he mates with planets just kind of creeped me out. I didn't know anything about the internals at that point, but having the knowledge that I have now, going back and watching it, I really enjoyed it. I think they did a great job of fleshing out the characters here. For me, even though the movie is about Star-Lord, the star of this movie to me is Yondu. This is his, this story has many themes. One of them is redemption. This is Yondu's redemption. The other is family, but not necessarily blood relatives. It's kind of like family is who you choose and with whom you choose it, right? That's kind of one of the themes. But obviously the protagonist would be, the Guardians of the Galaxy. The antagonist would be Ego, or basically Peter Quill's dad, and Aisha and the Sovereign. And might I say, the Sovereign almost seemed satirical in the way they're portrayed. Like they are this self-obsessed, self-absorbed race of people who are so vain they probably think this podcast is about them. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. There's a song by, I think, Toni Mitchell, where she says, "You're so vain, you probably think this song is about you." And that, to me, encapsulates the Sovereign. Like, let's set the scene. The beginning of the movie, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Baby Groot, by the way. Baby Groot's, oh my God, you can't help but he's just adorable.
This is one of the best intros. Yeah. It is maybe the best intro to a movie. I mean, up to this point, I remember sitting in the theater watching this for the first time. I'm like, this is just so awesome. It's just fun to watch. And even since then, I would say the only other one I can think of that comes to mind right away is Deadpool and Wolverine and the Bye. But like this intro with Groot and following him while everybody's fighting and he's dancing and stuff, it's fun to watch.
Man, it's hilarious. It's just hilarious. So anyway, they open up and they're, in the realm of the Sovereign, wherever they are, and this creature is coming to feed off their batteries, and I guess they need their batteries for whatever creations they're going to make, or, they're very important to them. And so they're talking about it. And, it's funny because they're having this argument. I think, who is it? Gamora asked Drax about his vest, and he was like, he said, "They hurt my nipples." And of course, Rocket is going to say something, right? Which is kind of funny. And then they get on the subject of music, and he's like, "What are you doing? You should be preparing." He's like, "Well, how Quill loves his music or whatever." And then, they go back and forth about that. And all of a sudden, the creature arrives and Baby Groot connects the speakers or whatever. And the battle ensues. And the whole thing that's funny about it, to your point, is the entire time Groot is dancing and is oblivious to what's going on, right? So this tells me right away, they do this stuff around him all the time. He's not scared. He's not shocked. He's dancing while you got a massive battle against a thing that's probably 50,000 times its size, and he's not fazed at all, right? That's number one. Number two, as they're fighting and they all see him, they're like, "Don't eat that. No, wait, right? No, get out of the way. You're going to get hurt. No, whatever." And I'm saying to myself, why isn't he on the ship? Like, why would you even bring him? Why would you even bring him here? Why is he on the ship? that was the thing that kind of, my first thought. But to your point, it is hilarious. And the funniest thing about this battle is when Drax crashes near him and he's dancing, he stops dancing in front of Drax. And the funny thing was, I did not get this until I was researching it. And, again, Drax doesn't dance.
Yeah.
So Baby Groot is being respectful. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get that in the first. I just thought, okay, he's a baby. He's a plant. He doesn't yet really know what's going on. And that's why he's doing this with Drax. But because Drax doesn't dance, he's being respectful. And it's funny because a few moments later, Drax crushes the radio and pisses Baby Groot off, and Baby Groot kind of ignores him for the rest of the movie until he gets sleepy later on, and he's like, "All right, I guess our little fight's over." But it's stuff like this that makes this a great, great film. Just their interactions with each other. As a matter of fact, Drax during the battle decides, you know what? His skin is impenetrable from the outside, so I'm going to let him swallow me and kill him from the inside. And Quill and Gamora go, what? What? And Drax, let me tell you something. Drax and his one-liners, they did it for me in this movie, man. Hilarious. Anyway, give me your thoughts on this first scene and what's going on, Joel.
Oh, this was the best way you could have opened up a sequel to the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, we knew what happened in the first movie seemed like a comedy when it comes to, like, in retrospective, like, it is a comedy, but comedy in general with Marvel, again, in retrospect, has been a little diluted. And I think a part of that was the success of the first Guardians of the Galaxy film. I mean, that was inherently a comedy. I mean, they were making light of dark tones and characters, villains in that film. And it was something that, like, none of the other movies really did. Like, yeah, Tony had his, like, quips and stuff. Same thing with Thor, Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye. All these characters have had their quips. But you wouldn't look at any of the movies and say that was a comedy. When you saw Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean, we were laughing reviewing the movie because it's just inherently a funny movie. So, in following up that movie, I mean, yeah, maybe that's one thing I didn't care about this movie is maybe they did a little too much with the comedy in this movie. But this is a perfect way to open up the film in terms of just setting yourselves up with these characters know each other. They've known each other for a while. They're comfortable around each other. They're also comfortable joking with each other. When Drax says, "I have sensitive nipples," and Rocket's like, "Oh my nipples!" Hilarious. It's so great though, and the entire scene, everybody's hilarious. It's like even Gamora's not even using a sword, and she's using a gun. And Peter's like, "Well, I thought swords were your thing and guns were my thing. I don't know." And she's like, "Why would I use a sword?" Like, I love how like Peter is like really funny and he understands jokes and stuff and sarcasm, and Gamora is like just so straightforward and blunt. She's just like, "Why would I even do that? That's stupid."
Right.
And he's like, "It's just a joke." Like, I love their relationship dynamic. Yeah. And it's funny because Drax is the same way as Gamora, where they're blunt and straight to the point. But the thing is, Gamora is a little bit more emotionally sensitive when it comes to a lot of things. Like,
she understands metaphors where Drax doesn't, So
no, he catches them if they go over his head.
Nothing goes over my head. Nothing. It's funny. So, again, they're going through the battle. Drax does whatever he does, and Quill notices a scar or a cut on the beast, and he tells Rocket to, "Hey, make it look up. I need you to, basically have his attention to focus in the air. And Gamora tries to shoot it, and of course the gun jams or runs out of bullets or whatever, and she has to end up using her knives anyway. And of course she leaps in the air and cuts the beast and cuts it wide open. And right on cue, Drax the Destroyer is I don't know, basically extracted from the beast because of the cut. And the first thing he does is, yes, I knew it. I killed the beast. He's so clueless, but you gotta love him. I mean, if Beautiful Idiot were a person, it's Drax. I'm just saying, it's just hilarious. And then they go before the Sovereign, and Alicia, who is the leader or the queen or whoever she is talking with Peter Quill. And they kind of get their flirt on a little bit. Mm-hmm. She talks about their genealogy and how they, genetically create these beings, genetically modify these perfect beings, that each of them are perfect and created in this little petri dish. She doesn't use the word petri dish, but you know what I'm saying. And Quill says he prefers the old-fashioned way. And she says, well, I'd like a lesson in that, for research purposes. All of this in front of Gamora. And it's kind of a funny thing there, because I think Peter starts to do it before he realizes. I think he forgets he's in front of Gamora. I think that's just him. He's got that whole Captain Kirk thing, right? He flirts with all the girls. And then Gamora looks at him or makes some sort of noise, and he's like, oh, no, that's totally disgusting. And it's funny, and they're having this thing, and as they're going back and forth, Rocket Raccoon gets offended because she really is coming down on Peter's genealogy. She's like, who was your dad? Because his genealogy, what I'm seeing in you is it's a little different. Like I don't know. I can't remember the word she says, but she kind of makes him feel funny about it because he doesn't know who or what his dad is. As a matter of fact, he says, I don't know, last time I saw him, he was in Kansas or whatever. But it's interesting. The fact that she makes that comment lets you know that she has the ability to look at a human being or a human organism and see everything from a genetic standpoint about them, which is kind of weird and kind of creepy and kind of cool at the same time. And Rocket gets pissed by all of this, and so he decides to steal some batteries, which is kind of funny. You know what I mean? And I think the other thing,
like, you want to buy some batteries to Drax? To this day, if someone says something about buying batteries, that's what I think of first. Is Rocket's response saying, hey, you want to buy some batteries? And Drax busts out laughing because those are the only two who know that he has the batteries at this point. And Drax doesn't care. So he does, as soon as he sees the batteries, he just laughs and then continues going about his business.
What's funny about the Sovereign is they're so pompous. Mm-hmm. They're so arrogant. This has to be a satire. This is just their entire race of people. This whole piece is satirical because they're so self-absorbed. They're so self-absorbed that their spacecrafts are piloted remotely. And to kind of play onto it, you hear video game sounds as they're going through a battle, which is, I mean, again, I don't know who James Gunn was poking fun at, but he's poking fun at somebody, and I'm here for it. I thought it was great. Give me your thoughts on that, Jordan.
I mean, I love it because I don't think you could do the Sovereign really well in like straight from the comics. So because they're this perfect specimen beings and stuff like that, which honestly I'm so glad they tied that in with Guardians of the Galaxy 3 very well in terms of getting the High Evolutionary to be the reason that they exist. It was an amazing tie-in with those two. But they're this like perfect. There's these perfect beings in the comics, and like they're kind of boring because of that. So throwing them into a Guardians of the Galaxy film to poke fun at them is it's great. This is the best way to like they get the best out of this species. I don't really care for them in this film all that much. Like honestly, I thought in the beginning, I thought it was great setup in the beginning, but I don't like them like constantly coming back like during the movie and like at the end of the movie. Like I didn't care all that much about them. Like, and I think they ended up being used more as a plot device by the end of the film, if anything. But I mean, because they're not inherently a plot device because of how much they're involved in the film, but it just feels like by the end of the film, like, yeah, they didn't really do all that much.
Yeah, no, I can see that. It's interesting, but as they're leaving the realm of the sovereign, the quadrant, the galaxy, whatever, all of a sudden they notice that, hey, they're being followed by these sovereign ships, and Quill's like, I wonder why they're following us. And of course, Drax the Destroyer says, oh, it's because, Rocket stole some batteries. And Rocket's like, like you snitch. And he's like, no, that didn't happen. Rocket didn't steal any batteries. And again, his delivery, he's hilarious, man, because he's serious. Like, it's this guy, he's funny. He's one of one. And this irritates Quill. And the funny thing is, I think a part of the reason he did it was because she insulted Quill. I do. I think a part of the reason that Rocket stole those batteries is because she insulted Quill. And she did, And it's just, I guess it's her we're better than you attitude. He just didn't like it. And so his only way he could get back at him was to, I guess, steal some batteries. Anyway, it's hilarious because as they're being chased by a whole, an armada of ships, okay? I mean, a lot, okay? They're like, well, Peter's like, well, where's the closest, planet? Where's the closest place to land? And Gamora says the jump point is 25 clicks or 15 clicks away and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, but you're going to have to go through that asteroid field. And again, Drax is like, wow, that's going to take the best pilot in the galaxy. And I don't know if he's really kind of stirring it up. It feels like he is. Just the way he said the line feels like he knows what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. Feels like he knows they're about to get after it because they both have big egos. And mainly it's because Quill is pissed off at Rocket because he didn't have to do that. You got us into this jam and you really didn't have to. You know what I mean? And so they go back and forth trying to pilot the ship. And it's funny because they damn near kill themselves and destroy the ship when if one of them would have just taken the lead, they'd have been okay. But we see the conflict between these two guys because, again, Rocket has to go and do Rocket stuff. Give me your thoughts on this scene and what's going on here.
I think it's funny. When I first saw this movie, I thought I didn't know who the leader. I thought the leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy was Star-Lord. Mm-hmm. But then James Gunn, before this movie came out, said it's Rocket, and I was so confused because you go back and watch the first Guardians film, very clearly Star-Lord is the leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
So this movie is where it kind of there's more question involved into who the actual leader is. Yeah. And this scene makes it abundantly clear that there's not really a leader to the Guardians of the Galaxy. Right. Even go into the third movie and in the holiday special, there is no leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So this scene does a great job of like telling us like, okay, there is no leader. And they don't even know who the leader is. There should be a leader, but right now they're just trying to like work through things. And it also makes it abundantly clear that they're still working things out. Like they're not the perfect family at all. And they're still trying to get to know one another too.
I think that, and I think that's realistic because in a situation, nobody's going to be like, oh, I am the leader. It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it has to be organic. And I guess in these scenarios, you kind of have to have Rocket and Star-Lord kind of duke it out to establish, okay, who should we listen to here? And that's fair. So I get that. But as they enter, what's the name of the planet where his dad is on? Whatever the name of the planet, I can't think of it. But as they enter its atmosphere, the craft catches fire, and Drax, who went out to destroy the I guess the last ship that was following them, or one of the last ships that was following them from the armada of the Sovereign, is basically trying to hang on as this craft is flying and descending towards a crash. And Gamora grabs the attachment that he's holding on to because it literally comes off. And so now you have Drax hanging on to the attachment, hanging on to Gamora, and Gamora hanging on with one arm as they are descending to the ground, flying through the woods. And what a scene, man. That is an awesome scene. Now, realistically, that probably would have broke every bone in Gamora's body. I don't know much about the genealogy of the inhabitants from her planet, but unless their bone density is, I don't know, 3 million times what it is, she'd have been broken up.
I think it is because, like, when you see her like jumping throughout, like even at the beginning of this movie when she's jumping on the first creature that they're all fighting, like she clearly has like abilities that humans don't have, like her ability to jump. She's very quick. Like she basically has like Spider-Man and Captain America's like level of like strength.
Okay. All right. Well, you need to, because I mean, wow. Anyway, that was a pretty cool scene, man. And the funny thing is, as soon as they hit the ground and the dust clears, Drax is like, "Wow, that was really fun. Can we do that again?" And they're all like, "Oh my god, this guy." I'm gonna tell you something. Drax and his lines, man, they're just hilarious, and they just get better and better and better in this movie. But I thought that was funny. And of course, they all get together and they start bickering again, like, how'd we get here and what's going on? And I'm sick of this guy. And Rocket, Quill calls Rocket Raccoon a raccoon. And he's like, don't call me a raccoon. And it's like, I'm sorry, man. That's too far. I meant Trash Panda. Right? Rocket says, is that worse? And Drax is like, I don't know. And Quill is like, it's so much worse. And then Rocket's like, I've had enough of you. And at this moment, as they're getting ready to throw down, Ego comes down in his ship with his assistant that would later become a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And we meet Ego, the Celestial, Quill's dad. Give me your thoughts on this scene, man, and just what's going on here.
I mean, it's I didn't think we were going to get into like his dad showing up in this movie all that much. Like when Guardians of the Galaxy became as successful as it did, I was like, all right, well, what's next? I didn't think we were going to get straight into Ego and stuff like that. But I was like, okay, I guess we're going to go there. Mainly because when you do a lot of teen movies, you tend to each movie ends up being about a different character, but these first two movies are about Peter. Like Peter is the center of these first two movies versus Rocket is clearly the center of the third movie.
Right.
So it was very interesting. And Kurt Russell
Right.
Kurt Russell as Ego, fantastic casting. Honestly, the only way they could have been better is if you got David Hasselhoff to maybe play him because of all the connections of like David Hasselhoff and stuff like that. And how he talks about David Hasselhoff even in this movie. Like Gamora says, "What if he is your David Hasselhoff?" But getting Kurt Russell to play him was fantastic. Especially now we have Kurt Russell's son, Wyatt Russell, who is a U.S. agent in the Thunderbolts. But Kurt Russell is fantastic in this movie. I love his energy, and I think he does a great job of like his comedy and his acting blends very well as the villain of this movie.
It does. It does. It really does.
I wondered when I had no idea where this movie was going. I was like, what is? I was like, is he really going to be like? Is Ego really going to be the villain? I had no idea there was going to be any plot. Like everything seemed to be going great, but Gamora, everybody was so positive about Ego except for Gamora. Gamora started off positive, then he was like, "All right, everything seems a little too good to be true." And
well, she saw, what's her name with the antenna?
Mantis.
She saw Mantis give. Mantis was about to say something to Drax, and she caught herself, and Gamora clocked it.
Yeah.
And that's what started that. She was like, wait a minute. Because there's a look that Mantis gave, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute. What's going on? But to your point, Peter has wanted to belong, and he's wanted to meet his dad. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, when they're leaving the Sovereign, he's like, that comment about my dad, like it wounded him. So he's wanted this, right? Think about this. You've never known who your dad was your entire life, and now you get a chance to meet him, and you're like, and he's a god. I mean, think about that for a second. He's a god, Jordan. Think about that. I mean, dude, that'd be kind of cool, man. Just think about it. Think about if your dad was Zeus and he came down. Oh my God. Oh really? Oh, I'm just saying. And he's tempted. And when we first meet him, it looks like Ego is everything that Yondu wasn't. He's polished. He's powerful, and he appears to be present. And the one thing about this movie is things are not what they seem, right? They are not what they seem. So I thought, man, great scene, great entry. You know what I mean? The other funny thing about it is everything from Ego's perspective when he's explaining it, if you go back and you look at it, it's kind of sexual. Yeah. Like the egg that we see. And then as Ego's ship is traveling, I guess, if you look at it and the way they encapsulate it, it kind of looks like, you know what I mean? Man milk. You know what I mean?
I've seen these a lot on when this movie first came out. I saw a lot of it. Yeah, I
didn't notice that the first time, but after that, I'm like, wow, what were you trying to do? And then just the way he explained everything, I'm like, what's up with this guy? But I mean, whatever.
I do want to point out one thing here. This is the part of the movie I don't like the most. When they split up. Because I felt like I was missing something in this movie. And every time I watch this movie, I feel like I'm missing something. And it mainly has to do with Rocket and Groot not being with the rest of the Guardians. It just felt like I would have liked to have seen it the whole time. I don't really much care for that at all. And I think Rocket had great scenes and Groot had great scenes and everybody had great scenes, but it just them splitting up just never sat right with me at all. Even to this day. And that is why I look a little less to this movie. And this isn't a bad film by any means. I love this movie.
Right.
But I just look at it definitely significantly lower than the first and third ones. I mean, the first and third ones were so emotionally centered, but yeah, them splitting up never sat right with me.
See, I feel the opposite. I loved it, especially when they go to free Yondu. Oh my God! Oh, I loved it.
Great scenes, fantastic scenes. Even when Rocket has that like slow motion thing that when he's attacking all the of Yondu's people, and like he's like attaching bombs and stuff to people, like that was all so cool. That was like when I think about Rocket, I think about obviously the third movie, but that scene right there. And there's so many great scenes, but it's just I wish the other Guardians were there to see that, or I wish Rocket and Groot were there to see all the stuff with Ego. Like I there are stuff like I wish they were together, and like I wanted to see the Guardians of the Galaxy, not the Guardians over here, Guardians over there.
That makes sense. I can't do anything but respect your opinion. That makes sense. But I think they did that because they wanted to flush out some things, specifically with Peter and his dad, and you probably couldn't have everybody around to do that. And they wanted to flush out some things with Peter and Gamora. Like again, I've really enjoyed this film, man. The second time, and I don't know, maybe it's because I hated it. I didn't hate it, but it was just kind of meh the first time. But I really like locked in, and there's so much I like about this film. But I understand what you're saying. Let's talk about Yondu. The first time we see Yondu, he's on this planet, and I guess I did not know that they had cyborg ladies of the night or robot ladies of the night, but apparently they do on this planet, and I'll leave it right there as I don't want the YouTube to penalize me. But you
want to dive right into that? I mean,
no, not gonna do it.
What did Howard the Duck say? Once you go, something about once you go duck, something like that.
He said, "You don't have any luck until you go duck," or something like that. That was
a weird scene.
That was just weird. I have nothing else to say. That was just weird. But Yondu comes out and he sees, the other Ravagers. He sees Sylvester Stallone's character. He goes up to him and he's like, "Hey," and he gives him the salute, and he is rejected and rebuffed. And they're like, "We can't believe what you did." And they're obviously talking about the fact that, they feel like he abducted Peter Quill, and basically not just Peter Quill, but all of the kids of Ego that, where he was trying to find a god like him, and they've kind of shunned him for it and exiled him. And he's like, "Nah, you guys aren't going to walk with me. You're going to hear from me. Look, I wear the same colors you do." And Sylvester Stallone character says, "Look, man, it gives me no pleasure to have exiled you. You broke our hearts, but it's what you did." And he walks off. And this is the first time that we find out that Yondu is rejected and feels disgraced for his choices. Now, what he doesn't tell them is that he hung on to Peter Quill because, he loved him. He had love for the guy. He had love for him, and he didn't want him to be hurt, but he doesn't tell them that. But it does two things. Number one, it makes him look really, really weak in front of his crew, and a mutiny begins to form. And Taserface, what a name, is basically the Judas who leads the mutiny, and it's just interesting to see how it plays out. But let's talk about this scene, man. Give me your thoughts.
This is another scene where these two scenes back to back, I just have done something with me with this film. Because I love the beginning, I love the end, but these two don't sit right with me.
Just didn't do it for you.
Look, I love the comedy of all the Guardians projects. But this one I feel like went a little overboard, this movie. And I think, like, I don't feel like there was enough pauses with the comedy as there were in the other films or even the holiday specials. And the holiday special is like an hour long, so I don't even really count that too much. But this movie, in my opinion, led to the downfall of how Marvel views comedy in their movies, and they try too hard. And you started off great with a great scene, getting the characters acclimated, involved. The comedy's still going, but then the comedy continues to keep going into the fight scene, into the beginning of the movie, and then we see the fighting again after that, and we see the comedy and the bickering back and forth, and then we're getting into the side characters from the first movie, like Yondu. We're getting introduced to new characters, but we're seeing like Howard the Duck too, and we're adding so much comedy now that it feels like there's not enough like
substance.
It feels like there's not enough substance there. And I also didn't care for the dialogue here in this scene either. But the conversation Yondu and Sylvester Stallone's character have, Yondu's like, good, walk away, and Sylvester Stallone's like, well, I am. Why are you here? And Yondu's like, so you can listen to me. And I'm like, what is this dialogue we are having on this scene right now? Because I'm so confused. Like, all right, I don't care about the whole thing, like, where they're at and like the partying and stuff like that. And I don't remember what term you use to describe the robotic women, but like, I don't care about that. That's a part that you can add to this as the level of comedy.
Right.
But it just felt like too much. And then the Sovereign people show up here, and we're adding more comedy because she's walking on a carpet that's being pulled by like her, like, I don't know, like gestures and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it gets caught and stuff. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I never laughed at that part because I'm like, what is there to laugh at? I feel bad for this woman that's pulling this carpet. I don't feel any sort of comedic relief whatsoever to this scene. It's just like layers and layers of just like, I think the scene's very important, but I think there's just way too much comedy going on with what we have already established in this movie, and the dialogue is just not there, in my opinion. And look, like I said, I really enjoyed this movie. It's just these two scenes back to back don't do it for me.
They don't do it for you. No, I get it. I think the one thing about it that I remind myself of is these are cosmic beings, and in order to make them relatable, you kind of have to use comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the thing behind it. I mean, you these are cosmic beings, and in order to make them relatable and palatable to people, you kind of have to use comedy. So I get what they're saying, but there were moments where it's a bit much. But I mean, I think this establishes, again, it gives us another layer to Yondu.
Yes.
And how he's, in some ways been misunderstood.
I liked Yondu more. Like, this movie made me appreciate, even before he dies, I was connecting more with Yondu in this movie than I did at all. Like, I didn't like him in the first movie, and then the setup of this is perfect for him.
Right.
And this whole movie, so when he dies, it makes it so heart-wrenching. Yeah.
No, it really does. And again, everything is not as it seems. That's the whole thing. But the way this sets it up is like, you are it sets it up like, oh, Yondu, you're this bad guy, and you were involved in human trafficking, and he really wasn't. He was basically trying to, although they don't get it, he had to deliver some of those children to Ego because he talks. I mean, we see their skulls in a later scene. So, from my understanding, he was the one bringing them there. Now, you could argue, okay, he didn't know what he was doing with them. He didn't. But they don't really go into that. They don't really tell us when he stopped and what that part was. So I get that, understand that. But Peter thinks that, okay, he just beat me up because, you know, he needed me to do this for him. No, he was trying to teach you to be able to fend for yourself. And although he told you he would eat you, that was just his sense of humor. And the guy really loved you. That's why he didn't send you to your father, because I guess at that point, he figured it out. He figured out that, nah, you probably don't need to go there because these kids went there and they died. But we don't hear about that. And we also see that him being disgraced is really hurtful to him. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, when he says, you know, well, you guys go ahead and leave. Think about that like an argument with a girlfriend or a wife or something. Well, you go ahead and leave. You don't mean leave. And then when she starts to leave, you're like, well, wait a minute, because you want to be heard before she does. And this is what's going on with Yondu is the fact that he's been rejected by them enough. And he's like, well, go ahead. I don't need you guys. But before you leave, you're going to hear me. I'm going to say my piece. And he does. And then, you know, Sylvester Stallone kind of throws him a bone. He says, look, man, I didn't want to do it. You think I wanted to do that? I mean, we see that these guys respect and love one another. You see that, right? And that's what's going on. But it's a deep wound for him that's gonna pay off tremendously later. You know what I mean? And just for a sec, man, the battles in this movie are visually stunning. They're beautiful. The use of color, it's just beautiful, man. You know, I don't want to spoil it, but again, even if we go back to the battles with the Sovereign, just the use of light and color as they're going through space, it is beautiful. It really is. I enjoyed this scene, but I respect your opinion, and you know what, your opinion is probably of the majority because you know you and I both look at other podcasters and their reviews, and that was pretty much the opinion that the two scenes that you, I don't want to say dislike, but didn't really care for was pretty much the general opinion.
Yeah, and like the way you describe it as like a relationship and like walking out,
right?
That's how the dialogue should have been, but I didn't. It's just the dialogue came out weird, and every time I watch the scene, I'm just like, what is going on?
Well,
what is this conversation we are having? It's just I guess the writing. It's not the delivery by Stallone or Yondu. It's just the writing of that. Just I felt like it could have been better and more understanding.
Here's the thing: you got to look at the ages of these guys. These guys are baby boomers. You know what I mean? They're not really good with their feelings. Because I can tell you, if that was my dad, right, he'd have been the same way. Because they don't like to be vulnerable. You hear what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, you got baby boomers, Gen Xers, millennial, whatever. Baby boomers do not like to be vulnerable. They didn't talk about their feelings with their kids. They didn't do that. Well, my dad wanted to have the talk with me. He gave me a book. And not because he didn't know. He just didn't want to have the talk. He didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? And that is common with the boomers. So it would be awkward for them. You get what I'm saying?
It wasn't even awkward. It wasn't even awkward. Like I would have understood awkward. It just felt like I felt like there was like missing information when they were talking.
Yes.
Like like I felt like I was missing something when they were talking with one another and going back and forth. It like I almost felt like I was in the room and like I was a bystander walking by and I caught the middle of their conversation.
Yeah.
That's almost what it felt like.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. All right. So we go back to Ego's planet, and Ego shows Peter his celestial power, and they throw energy balls, and Peter feels special because this is what Peter's wanted to do all along. He never had a dad to throw him footballs in the backyard. So, man, he's in the catbird seat right now, Jordan. He's feeling great. Life is good. You know what I mean? Life is good. That's what we should have titled this scene. Life is good for Peter. You know, Ego doesn't understand love, only expansion. And so Ego throwing the ball here to him is really manipulation because he doesn't want to have a relationship with Peter. He just wants what Peter can do for him. You know what I mean? And it's going to be sad later because it's like, imagine wanting to meet your dad all these years and then you do, and he's this guy. You know what I mean? Which happens to a lot of kids. So, I don't know. I got it. It sets it up for later, but it was it's kind of cruel, man. It's kind of cruel because, you know, we see this is what Peter's wanted all of his life, and he's throwing the ball, and Pete's like, "Look, Dad, I can do it. Look, Dad, look at me." And they're throwing the ball, and you're like, "Oh God, boy!" When you find out, I don't know. Give me your thoughts on this scene, Jordan.
This is why they did such a great job casting Kurt Russell in this, because they make you like him. They really do. This entire time, you're like, "Oh, I really like him. Like, this is so fun." But like, how are things ever gonna get bad with this? Because it's Kurt Russell. He's playing catch with his son, and Peter's playing catch with his dad. How did things go south? Oh, they go south really quickly. This is just great job, like casting. You get a likable actor, a well-known actor. I mean, Kurt Russell's probably the #1 actor of this entire movie. You got to get someone that's really likable, and everybody really likes Kurt Russell. So, because you trust him, and he's saying everything that you want to hear, and Peter's because you're in Peter's shoes to this point. Right. You're like, oh, like we want to trust this guy, and he's saying everything we want to hear. He's the dad we never had, and he even playing catch. It's like this is it's surreal for Peter. So it makes everything more heart-wrenching when everything goes south.
Yeah, it does, man. I felt really bad for Peter after this. I did. I felt bad for him because it's just like I just felt bad for him. Anyway, Gamora and Nebula have a confrontation. You know what, Gamora? You know what? I've had enough of this. We're gonna go at it, and they have this fight, and like real life, their true feeling comes out. And, you know, Gamora says to her, "Look, man, I just wanted to win. That's it. I just wanted to win, Nebula." And Nebula's like, "Well, I just wanted a sister." Because apparently, and I'm so glad we're on this topic. I'm so glad we're on this topic. Because to those of you who don't know anything about this, if this is the first time that you're watching this, my guy here, and this is my guy. This is one of my close friends. But you know exactly where I'm going. Yeah. You know exactly where I'm going. You know exactly where I'm going. This guy right here, okay? He says, and I quote, that Odin is a better father than Thanos. Mind you,
No.
whenever Gamora and Nebula would fight and Nebula would lose, Thanos would torture her and equip her with more weapons and punish her for losing and torture her.
It wasn't punishment. It was just trying to get her to get the best version of herself. It was the Mamba mentality. Mamba mentality. That was Kobe. The Michael Jordan. You gotta always get better.
Kobe's name. Do not do that.
You always gotta get better.
No, sir. No, sir. Thanos is a monster when it comes to being a father.
Oh, yes, he is. Oh, I agree. It makes Odin worse.
How is Odin worse? Help me understand. Did we see Odin torture anybody? Did he play his sons against each other?
Yes.
No.
That, yes.
No, he did. When? Yeah. When? When did he play them against each other?
All three films.
He did not play them against each other.
In the first film, there literally is Loki versus Thor because he casted out Thor because he cast out Thor, and then Loki finds out about his true self, and so instead of like telling Loki his true, like where he truly comes from and sitting him down, this is like worse timing because Thor's not here. And he's like, all right, oh no, I have a weak heart. I'm going to go sleep now. And he goes into his Odin sleep and pitting Loki versus Thor in the final battle instead of like helping.
He doesn't pit him. He ends up going to sleep, but he doesn't pit him against him. And he should have cast out Thor because Thor was being immature. So you know what he didn't do? He didn't torture either one of them for failure. He did not do that.
He put Hela in prison.
Hela was a maniac. She should have been in prison.
Yeah, that would be a better father, and she wouldn't have acted like that.
Oh my God! Jesus, no, absolutely not. Absolutely
not. Killed people when he was with Hela. He ended up being more of a like saving the 9 realms with Thor. But before that, he wanted to be a conqueror, and that's when
he was a young father.
He was a young father.
Look, I got 3 kids. You make your mistake with your first ones. With your first ones are kind of like they're kind of like your guinea pigs because you don't know what you're doing. Okay, you don't know what you're doing, right? Like Mariah would look at how I would deal with Zach and Maya, and she'd be like, "You've gone soft." Because they're like 8-9 years apart, so I was more mature when we had Zach and Maya. I was a kid myself. I was 23 years old when we had Mariah.
Odin also has another child that we have yet to explore because obviously Odin loves to keep secrets from Thor and Loki. With Boulder the Brave, or what was it, Boulder, or what? It starts with a B. In fact, the guy who played James Bond in the most recent James Bond films was scheduled to play him in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. He actually was on set in uniform and stuff, but his role ended up getting cut. But another thing is like, all right, by the way, Thor and Loki, I'm dying now. And that means you're going to see your sister. Okay, bye. And he dies, and then Hela shows up. By the way, you have a sister. Fades away into the starry night, and like, oh my goodness. And then he finds out, or in the second film, in the Dark World, he finds out Loki died, and he's like, Loki. No emotion whatsoever. Not a tear. No tear.
These are baby boomers. They don't do that.
Yeah, but nothing. Not even like a.
They don't do that.
Not even like a. Not even like I don't need to see a tear. I don't even need to see a tear. I don't need to see you show emotion. I just need you to be like, Like, be a tough emotional person at least. Like, he was just like Loki, and
So,
that was it.
all
Nothing.
make him worse than Thanos, who tortures Nebula.
He was trying to make them better.
Oh my God.
He was trying to.
God. Oh,
Unlike Thor and Loki, whenever Thor and Loki did something bad, he just banished them, or Hela even. He banished them if they did something bad. But when Thanos was a present father, or Thanos is a present father, or if they did something bad,
using the word present father with I cannot. But
he
disciplined want to throw up in my own mouth.
He disciplined his children.
Oh my God. Oh,
disciplined them.
You know what? We're gonna do a whole show with this because this is insane.
Google it. Insane. Google who's a better father.
It doesn't matter what Google says. I have my own eyes. That's insane. That's whatever.
And I don't think I think both are terrible parents. I think they're the two of the worst fathers in all of Marvel comics and movies and shows and all of that. I mean, they are the two worst. But I do think Odin is worse. At least we have a present father with Thanos.
Okay. Whatever. That's insane, man. Let's go to the next one. And this is my favorite. This is my favorite scene of this movie. You and I were talking about this. But it starts out with Rocket and Yondu being captured, as well as, Rocket and Baby Groot being captured. And Yondu is overthrown by Taserface, and they kill all of basically Yondu's supporters. They just throw them out into space. And so they're sitting there in prison, and Baby Groot gets out, goes to collect his wand, Yondu's wand, and he has to go back several times. And finally, Yondu's main supporter who turned on him says, no, that's not what you're looking for. And he grabs his wand and he brings it to him and he says, I'm sorry about the mutiny. They killed all my friends. And Yondu just looks at him and says, go and get this and so and so. And this is what sets up the whole thing for me. And it's funny because it's in this that we see that Rocket and Quill have a connection. Rocket says, do you have one of Quill's classic records or classic songs? And he's like, yeah. And they put on Come a Little Bit Closer by Jay and the Americans. And this is my absolute favorite scene. Okay. This is my absolute favorite scene because they walk out of that prison barrier, whatever you want to call it, with attitude. Mm-hmm. They walk out in slow motion, and the look on Rocket Raccoon's face is like, we are about to kick some you-know-what, and it is awesome. And then we got Groot looking like, oh, yeah, it was, because Groot was, I don't want to say Baby Groot was tortured, but one of the guys, one of the Ravengers was kicking him around. And so he's mad about that. So they are all united in this cause to go and kick some Ravenger butt. And they're walking out to this song. And it is awesome. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something, Jordan. When you piss Yondu off, the way that they do this is stunning. Because we see him kill about 300 people. It is a cacophony of death, but it is beautifully done the way they do it. I mean, it's like the one is just going in and out and in and out, and they slow it down. But understand, this is happening in milliseconds, right? He's just killing guys left and right, and they're walking through here, and it is an awesome, awesome, awesome scene. And the music in the background and the timing of it is perfect. They walk across this bridge and we see Ravengers just falling left and right? Like somebody just sprayed a gallon of Raid on this wasp nest, and you just see dead wasps just falling down. It's everywhere, man. Visually stunning. I love this scene. I think it is the best scene of the entire movie. I want to hear your thoughts, man. Give me your thoughts about it.
I agree. I think it's the best scene of the whole movie. I mean, and this is the type of scene that's like, wow, if Yondu was really in the Battle of Endgame or in Infinity War, he would have done a lot of damage to a lot of different people. And like, it's almost like, I'm very curious how like Doomsday and Secret Wars go, because we'll probably have like speedsters or like people who are just naturally fast in their skill set, because like we didn't get Quicksilver, we didn't have Yondu with the arrow, we didn't have anyone during those battles that could make quick decisions and stuff like that. It'd be very interesting to see those two next Avengers movies going forward. But like I mean, maybe they did a good thing killing him off, because it would made things more dramatic in Infinity War and Endgame. This is the perfect display of Yondu's power and like how powerful he can be, especially angry. This is angry Yondu. Like in the first movie, it was like Yondu just normally fighting. This is okay. Things got personal. Y'all are gonna die. Groot is also funny because like he's so small and he's like still able to like really hurt people because of his like roots and stuff like that. And Rocket's still having a fun time, but it's all the Yondu party with this one. I love this whole scene. It's visually stunning too. And I will say one thing. I think it's funny, the taser face jokes. When you go back and rewatch it as many times as I have, I'm just like, at this point, I'm just kind of like, it was one thing when Rocket was making fun of it at first. It's like, it's funny. But then we keep coming back to it. Like, even when the Sovereign, when he calls, he's the Sovereign, and he's like, all I ask is you tell him the name of the person who doomed his fate, Taser Face, and she starts laughing and stuff like that when he says Taser Face. And you know, we are watching a comic book movie. I want to make that very clear. Mm-hmm. There are people named Spider-Man, named Rocket Raccoon, named Star-Lord, named Captain America. Like, there are funny names all over the place.
Right.
So if someone's name is Taserface, honestly, that's probably not even the funniest name I've heard. I think the jokes went a little like that's Rocket having his scene in the beginning with the Taserface stuff is hilarious because that's Rocket's humor. So I get it. I understand. Right. But then we kept going, and there was other people just making fun of the name, and I'm just like, all right, like we're well past that. I don't care. And it reminds me of like a scene earlier in this movie with some kind of fruit that they were eating on the ship,
and it's stale. And then she eats it, and she's like, "It's stale." Yeah, she said,
"Yeah, not right." Yeah, and I'm like,
she did say it's not right. Yeah, you're right.
And I'm like, all right, like they told you it wasn't right. Honestly, I don't know why. That part again. Some parts of this just felt like humor forced, versus others felt very natural. That's what made the first Guardians movie so great. Is the humor felt natural as we were progressing through the movie, and sometimes it was shocking. Like especially when Rocket was like. When Drax was talking about his wife and kid dying, and Rocket's like, "Oh, my poor wife and kid are dead," and Groot's like, that
not like
humor that it was like that's a crazy thing to say.
He did not like that.
It was
one bit,
but the humor just felt natural in that movie, and in this movie, it just felt like everybody was kind of cracking a joke, especially this movie made me appreciate Nebula and Yondu more than the first one. The first one I could care less about.
Yeah.
Nebula in this movie, like I started to actually like feel for her and Yondu. But even Nebula is not inherently funny. I should not be hearing Nebula cracking jokes and stuff. Like her and Gamora were raised together. Gamora does not crack jokes at all in any of these movies. But Nebula was raised with her, so I expect them both to be on that same level of not much humor, which inherently makes them funny when they're in the presence of people who are comedic, like Drax, like Groot, like Rocket, like Peter. So, it just felt like, I don't know how I got to the comedy and stuff about this movie, but in general, yeah, that's just... My thoughts are just the comedy felt like too much at times, like especially with the David stuff. That's how I got that.
No, I get it, and you know that's fair. That's a fair point. That's fair. It was you know, it did feel forced at some points. What I really liked about it was they had such great chemistry, man. They really have such great chemistry. Mm-hmm. And it was, you could see it even more so in this movie. It just naturally comes out. You know what I mean? Even the scene with Peter and Gamora where they're dancing, and she's like, if you tell Drax about this, if you tell anybody about this, da 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 da. But he's wooing her. Mm-hmm. This is old fashioned. This is Sam Cooke. Mm-hmm. This is an old-fashioned romance, and he's wooing her, and they're having this conversation, and he's like, well, what about this unspoken thing? You know what I mean? And that is the funny thing about that is he's talking about a situation that really is a situation in most TV shows.
Yeah.
In most TV shows, they skirt right up to the line on romance for as long as they can, but they don't let them get together. Because the minute they get together, people lose interest. And it's a formula. People love the chase. Yeah. America loves the chase, but they don't like it when people get together. And he's referencing this, which is kind of cool because it's a movie talking about a TV show and the agenda items that they follow. And I really like that. But he's using it as a metaphor for their relationship, which I really thought was cool. And it's exactly what's going on. And he's like, well, what about this unspoken thing? And she's like, what unspoken thing? And she doesn't want to deal with it, but she's dancing with him, right? Which, again, Gamora doesn't do. As a matter of fact, at the beginning of the movie, Drax says to him, there are people who dance and people who don't dance. You and Gamora are not a match because she doesn't dance. So what they're doing flies in the face of that. He's wooing her. It's working. Mm-hmm. But she has doubts. And also she's like, well, what are we talking about? We need to be talking about what's going on with this planet. This just feels off. And Star-Lord, having a moment, is like, you're just jealous because you found out my dad was a god and now I'm not the weak one. And you like me being the weak one. And he's talking about the power dynamic in their relationship. And a little of what he's saying is true. It is true. Gamora is a powerful woman. Mm-hmm. And you know, not a little of what he's saying is true. And she doesn't deny it. But it's interesting in that he's like, I finally found my family. And this wounds her. Because she says, well, I thought you already had your family. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and she walks away. And the funniest thing that I missed the first time I saw this movie is she's sitting down and there are these two flowers, daisies, whatever, and they're kind of moving together in sync. You know what I mean? And she looks at this and goes, nope, chops it off. That was funny. Mm-hmm. That was Gamora. We will not be having any romance around me today. No, that's enough for you, Quill. And I thought that was funny. But anyway, we don't get that if everybody's together.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I mean, we got that in the first movie though with Gamora and Peter when Peter shows Gamora the Walkman.
Right.
And like we can still have these scenes, especially with this big planet. You have a whole planet, so these characters can be spread out on this planet. They're still there, but just like doing their own things. Like you can still have those moments alone with multiple characters.
Right.
And I love this scene too because that unspoken thing that they have is it's great because like we saw a little bit of that like romantic chemistry between the two of them in the first one, and I'm glad they started this movie off with that Sovereign conversation with Star-Lord and the leader of the Sovereign, because it shows that Gamora and him are not like official yet. They're not like a thing. They're just like they're friendly with one another.
Right.
So by the end of this movie, by the end of this movie, we realize they are together.
Right.
And this scene is one of those scenes that kind of pushes that envelope.
Yeah. I like their interaction. I like the whole romance thing. Like I you know what I mean? I thought that was kind of cool. But now we get back to Ego, and now all of a sudden his plan is revealed. He begins planting himself across the universe to terraform reality, and his philosophy is revealed. Ego is narcissism as comic annihilation. He wants Peter not as a son, but as a battery. Damn. Damn. Just damn. Let's talk about this, man. What you got?
I mean, when he says it hurt me to put that cancer in your mother and that tumor in your mother's head. I was like, huh? Like I couldn't believe. Like again, casting Kurt Russell in this role is great manipulation of the audience because we all are very trusting. So when someone like Kurt Russell says that, like, I mean, I've seen that shot where you zoom in, like the background focuses and they zoom in on Peter and he says what, and his eyes go normal. I mean, that gets used as a GIF so much now. Everybody's saying the exact same thing when he says that because you're like, what? You put what where? And you know, Peter not hesitating and going and just shooting him. Bravo! I'm glad because if you're a normal like writer of just any normal movie, you would try to add like dialogue that's like questioning, like, well, why would you do that? Like stereotypical dialogue. No, just go get straight to the point. You shoot him. Honestly, love that. So, this whole interaction, and I mean, using him as a battery makes total sense with what he's trying to do. I mean, you trust Kurt Russell, you trust Ego this whole movie, and you realize, oh, no. That was great plot twist. If you know nothing about the comics going into this movie, it is such a great plot twist.
Yes. It reminded me of, and I don't know if I don't think you've watched the show 24, but the first 5 seasons they were phenomenal. They were phenomenal. And in the 5th season, and you're not going to watch it anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it.
I might watch it. No. Don't spoil it, because I might watch it. I've seen it. I remember when 24 was out. Like, I might watch it.
Okay. Don't I won't spoil it for you, but
I was at work, actually, last week, and I almost had... You know the movie The Iron Claw?
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched it for the first time on Sunday. And I almost had it spoiled I was planning on watching it last weekend. I almost had it spoiled for me at work on Friday.
I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I won't spoil it for you, but I will simply say In season 5, when you find out who the villain is, it was that kind of moment. Like, oh my God. Like, I remember what I was doing. I remember what time it was because I used to get off work at 1 o'clock. I'd be home by 2 and I DVR'd 24 and I'm watching it. And I have friends that work the same shift. And when I found out, I was like, oh my God, did you? You know what I mean? Because it was that kind of thing. That's what this was like. It was like, did he just say he gave? Like, oh my God. So I agree, man. And his response was adequate. Like, I would have done the same thing. I would have just killed him. Whatever. We'd have just, with the movie, one of us would have died at that. There would have been no more tape on the movie because I'm not stopping until somebody's dead. So, you know, but that's me. Final battle. And this battle was about 20 minutes. They get after it. And it, again, funny moments, right? So Rocket says to Baby Groot, do this, don't touch this button. And he goes, now what did I say? Repeat it back to me. I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot. No, that's the opposite of what I told you. Don't do that. Do not touch this button. Do not touch it, no matter what. Repeat it back to me. I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot. You just said the same thing. What are we doing? And then Star-Lord says, stop yelling at the kid. And he's like, he's going to get us all killed. Do you have any tape? And we literally, do you have any tape? 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 And he says, what did he say? He says, did you ask
Nebula?
No, did you ask Nebula? He's like, well, she's right next to so-and-so, and she heard me ask him. And he's like, and then all of a sudden it gets real because they're getting attacked by Ego. And so all of a sudden, Baby Groot just runs off. And what was the funny? He's like, and it's funny. We see the scene on Rocket Raccoon, and he's like, we're all going to die. that was good. That was, again, one of my favorite scenes, man. And of course, they get after it. Yondu says to Peter that when he uses his arrow or wand or whatever it is, that he uses his heart, he doesn't think about it. And Peter figures out, okay, he has that moment like, okay, this is it. We're going to fight. Let's go. And he starts to basically whoop up on Ego, and they get after it. And this gives Baby Groot some time to set the bomb off, and he starts to push the wrong button, and then he goes to the other one. He sets it off and starts running, and then of course Rocket sees him, grabs him, and before he's about to leave, he says, Yondu, we gotta go. And he says, nah, man, I've never done anything right in my life. You gotta give me this one. And to take a step back, he and Rocket Raccoon kind of had a moment on the way there to that planet where he says to him, look, man, the guys who created you didn't give a damn about you. And, Rocket's just had enough. And he's like, look, and he's like, no, I'm not telling you that because I think I'm better than you. I'm telling you that because I am you. I've gone through the same thing. And they have this moment where they connect. And so in this final moment, Rocket is about to lose another friend. And he's like, you know what I mean? He's like, I got to do the right thing. And he says, well, here's a space suit and here's something else. I only got one of each. Here you go. And as they're about to leave, Groot says, I am Groot. And Yondu says, what did he say? And this is one of my favorite lines. He says, welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy. But he didn't say frickin'. I loved it. Oh, that was great. I got chills, man. I got chills on my arm from that scene. What a scene. And then he just, you know what I mean? He ascends up into the ship. And of course, Gamora's losing her mind. Where's Quill? Where's Quill? And she's about to take off. And Rocket shocks her and he says, I've already lost one friend today. I'm not losing another. And we see Ego get destroyed because the bomb goes off. And in probably what is the most touching moment of the film, Yondu comes up, sweeps up Peter, and he says, "Hey, man, I might not have been, he was like, Ego may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy." He was like, you're my boy, and I'm sorry I didn't do the right thing, but I'm sure proud of you. And just the way that he says it, man, what a moment. What a moment. And then, of course, he takes the spacesuit, puts it on Peter, and Peter's trying to take into account what's going on. And he's like, Yondu, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And he watches Yondu die in front of his face. And just what a moment, man. What a moment. What a moment. Hey, man, favorite scene of the movie. I know I said the other one was, and I guess I was wrong. This is, from a heart perspective, this has got to be the favorite scene of the movie. Give me your thoughts on this scene, man.
I mean, this is such a great scene when it comes to. I think there's like a deeper level of meaning when it comes to this movie, and kind of looking at like sort of like step parents or like adoptive parents and stuff. Yeah. And like that, not a lot of people. I know a lot of people who've like gone on to meet like their like biological parents, and it doesn't always work out right, and you don't realize like how great you have it with like your step parents, right? So like this is basically the same thing. It's the same setup, and I mean, they build Yondu up, like I said at the beginning of this. They build Yondu up in this movie so well to like you see him like at his lowest, and then you see him come up, and he's literally at his highest before he ends up dying. So you even see a scene where Yondu is coming down, and he's holding on to his arrow, and Peter's like, you look like Mary Poppins. Yondu says, "Is he cool? Is he cool?" And he's like, "Hell yeah, he's cool." And he's like, "I'm Mary Poppins, yo." That's great. I love that scene so much. That like I said, the beginning of this movie and the end of this movie, they delivered everything. It's just the beginning felt weird, and the middle felt weird. Yeah. It's like they knew exactly what they wanted to end with this movie, and they delivered. I mean, it's such an emotional gut punch. Is it reminiscent of the Gamora and Star-Lord scene in the first movie a little? Yeah, a little. Where they're in space and Star-Lord saves her. A little, yeah. But and in fact, they kind of do the same thing in all three movies, now that I'm thinking about it, because at the end of the third movie, they do that with Star-Lord, and Adam Warlock saves him. So it's so interesting to think about. But it's just it's an emotional gut punch that like he basically did raise him to be. He didn't raise him since birth, but he raised him to be the man that he is today. Right. And I mean, even though Peter had so many negative things to say about him, like he realized that he was he was still just protecting him. Right. So that made it's a beautiful moment at the end of this.
Yeah, it really is, man. Phenomenal, just phenomenal. And at the funeral, he's like, yeah, David Hasselhoff had a talking car. Yondu had his wand. So I guess in a way, Yondu really was like David. It's like the way he rationalizes things. It's hilarious, man. It's funny.
And this funeral, my goodness.
Yes.
This whole thing was just so, every time I watch this, I'm just like, this is so sad. And like, it's so beautiful. And especially when all of all the Ravengers, yeah, all the Ravenger ships come in, and they're realizing it's a Ravenger funeral, and then seeing now James Gunn's brother Sean Gunn is the one who ends up taking the arrow in the third movie. He's in this, when he's just pounding his chest, screaming at the top of his lungs, I'm just like, oh, I'm feeling your emotions right now.
Yes.
Like everything about this was just such. It was, and especially you see the one firework that's in the shape of his arrow. This whole and the music that's playing. I don't remember what song it is, but this song adds every time I hear it now. I just think about this, and I'm like, oh, this is just so emotional and so sad, and it's so beautiful. And you tie in everything that's happening in the movie, that unspoken thing with Gamora and Peter and stuff. Groot like falling asleep on Drax's shoulder, and Rocket's normally the tough guy. He ends the film with just a tear come down his face. It is so an amazing way to end this film. Amazing, in my opinion, a way better ending than we got in the first movie.
Agreed.
Which is insane. And from the third movie, I mean, I would say this is the best ending to any of the Guardians movies.
Yeah.
Like they knew exactly what they wanted to do with this, and it was such a powerful ending.
No, you know what? I agree with everything you said, man. And just it's visually stunning.
Yes.
Just the way that they do that, it's like it was beautiful. That's all I can think of. It's just it was beautiful to the eye. It was beautiful to the soul. And like you say, when James Gunn brother is like, you feel it. You feel it because, this was essentially his Robin, right? This was the Robin to his Batman. This was his guy. And you see him so happy because he was there from the beginning and he knew what a sore spot this was with Yondu. And for Yondu to die and be honored, he is just happy for his friend. And that's what love is about, man. That's what friendship is about. That it's just beautiful. I really love the way they ended this. I thought it was great. And man, I love this movie. Now, was it as good as the first one? No, it wasn't. But for me, it's not far behind. Mm-hmm. For me. Okay. Because there were some, the Sovereign, I don't know. I thought they were kind of funny because they were so vain. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So just the satire with them was funny. And when they were on the planet and when they were rolling out the green or red carpet, I thought that was funny because she's so pretentious. She's literally not going to walk. She's that pretentious that she's going to, like, I thought that was funny. You know what I mean? Whatever. But I enjoyed it, man. I really, really, really enjoyed that. I don't know. I don't have anything bad to say about it. So anyway, let's get to the ratings, my friend. Mm-hmm. So I went back and forth with this one. Mm-hmm. Let me see where I am on this. I know what the rating is, but I did not make the adjustments when you sent it to me, so I got to look at my phone to tell you where I am with it. Mm-hmm. So, okay. All right. I'm going to give this an 8.5, and it is right above Iron Man.
Ooh,
so
really?
Right above Iron Man.
Really?
Right above, yes.
Wow.
Right above Iron Man. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to give it an 8.5. Guardians of the Galaxy was a 9 out of 10. But Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I'm going to give it an 8.5 and put it right above Iron Man. Now, that's me. I have no idea what you're going to give this movie because I was thinking about that last night. I don't know. I'm going to say you give it. I'm going to say you give it a 7.5, but I have no clue. So give me your thoughts. What do you give this movie?
I need to take a step back for a second. You think this is you like this more than Iron Man?
I'm gonna tell you why. I loved Iron Man. I think it was great, but for me, I'm just a sucker for a teen movie. I'm a sucker for a movie that's about a family pulling together. I think I value those movies more so than individual movies.
I agree with that. That's why a lot of my team movies are higher than most.
Yeah.
The only and even the Guardians movies. But why I don't look at it with very differently with this movie is that them separating.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
That's so interesting. Okay. So, all right. Like I said, I enjoy this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a movie that, I mean, you throw it on, it's a good time. I mean, in looking at like the first movie, I do think it's definitely a step down from the first movie. I think there was more balance in the first movie than in this movie. I also think the music in general is better in the first movie. I think this is a great soundtrack. Arguably it's a top like 5 soundtrack.
Great soundtrack.
Like all the Guardians stuff, even the holiday special has great soundtracks. There's four the top 4 Marvel soundtracks of all time are all Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. I want to make that very clear.
Yep.
It's not as good as the first one. I think the first one, like I hear songs from the first one just going about my daily life, and I think Guardians of the Galaxy.
The first one was second to none, man. I'll take that first one up against any soundtrack. Like that first one was second to none, Marvel or otherwise. I'll take that first one up against anybody's soundtrack.
But like I said, the beginning of this movie, end of this movie are both great. Middle is where I have a lot of just stuff where I'm like, this is not sitting. This doesn't really sit well with me. I think the comedy, this is like I said, this is where the comedy I think gets too much for Marvel. And for that, you nailed it. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10.
Oh, okay. I got lucky. Okay.
I put it just above The Amazing Spider-Man, mainly because, I think there's more of the fun element to this movie that I think The Amazing Spider-Man just lacks. I think there's more, like, I can sit down and just have a fun time with this instead of The Amazing Spider-Man. I have to think a little bit more. But otherwise, same score. And then I have it just below X2, X-Men United. I think X2, X-Men United is a fantastic script. I think the script is definitely miles better than this movie. But again, fun element is why they're even in the same conversation. Is that there's inherently just a fun element to a Guardians of the Galaxy project, and that was not missing in this movie whatsoever. It's just there's just a little bit of other stuff where I'm like, why did we do this? In the same light of The Amazing Spider-Man, the first one. And I like The Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, but again, same breath.
That's fair. Well, hey man, this was fun. I really, I'm gonna tell you something. I went and found Come a Little Bit Closer, and I listened to it for like an hour before our podcast because I just love that scene, man. I love that. That scene was great, man. That scene, the last scene, I love this film. So, whatever, man. I get it, but I figured you give it a 7.5, just knowing you. So good to know that I was right. We've got Daredevil season 1 and Jessica Jones season 1 coming up on Sunday, correct?
Yes.
So that'll be fun. And next week we're getting into some interesting things. So we're going to be doing 4 movies from the Oscars, right? Mm-hmm. And we're doing them Thursday and Friday, correct?
Yes.
All right. So you guys watching the show, just look out for it. I will send it out on all the socials, but I think we'll be doing Formula One, Sinners, obviously. The one with, what are the other two we're doing, Jordan?
I cannot remember for the life of me the Leonardo DiCaprio film title, but I know the other one was Frankenstein
from Netflix. Yeah. What? You know what? Let me look it up. I'll find it. That's bad.
It's a long title. Like, I was talking to someone trying to explain what we're going to be doing this week, and I was like, I can't for the life of me remember this movie.
One battle after another.
Yeah, it's also such a boring title. It's such a let me get. I don't know. I haven't watched this movie yet, but that's such an Oscars. I have issues with the Oscars in general. I just think that when it comes to movies, you have there's a pretentiousness to basically the sovereign. And there's such a pretentious group of people.
Yes.
And like, there's no way in this world Sinners shouldn't walk away with the majority of the awards. And if they don't win Best Picture, I don't care. I don't care. That is the best film.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I have not watched the other three films, so I should watch them. But Sinners was also a cultural phenomenon that was everybody needed to go see that. And the last time we saw that was with Oppenheimer and Barbie. That was and Oppenheimer ended up stealing the whole show. And if Oppenheimer wasn't even if Oppenheimer didn't release, Barbie was going to steal all the awards.
Yeah.
So Sinners should definitely win. But I am looking forward to the other films. Actually, Frankenstein, I was already planning on watching, regardless of whether we were doing this or not. F1 has always kind of been on my radar. I've heard good things about it. And I've heard it compared to Top Gun Maverick a lot. But and then one battle after another. I mean, feels like a stereotypical modern day Leonardo DiCaprio film. It just feels like Leonardo DiCaprio is just trying to chase like niche things. He doesn't like doing sequels and stuff like that. Grow up. We live in a world full of nerds, man. Stop being pretentious. Go do an Avengers film. Come on, man. You did Titanic. Okay? You did Titanic. Go do something fun. Like, I loved when he was The Great Gatsby. Loved it. Fantastic. One of my favorite films. That's probably my favorite film of his. Because I love the book. That's my favorite book ever. And I think he nails Gatsby to a T. I love some of his when he was younger and doing some of his older works. But after like Inception and The Wolf of Wall Street, after that era of Leonardo DiCaprio, and actually today I think is the 10-year anniversary of The Revenant. I got an alert on my phone about that. That era, DiCaprio was like, I'm just doing it for fun. Now it just feels like I'm doing niche projects with like cool directors and stuff like that. Grow up. Stop dating 24-year-olds, man. Grow up. Anyways, that's my rant on Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, he's a fantastic actor.
He is.
Just do something fun, man.
Do something fun. Stop taking yourself so. Yeah. Right. Well, hey, man, we got to come back here Sunday, so definitely looking forward to it. We got Daredevil season 1 and Jessica Jones. We got a lot of shows coming up, man. We got Daredevil season 1, then Jessica Jones, then one of my favorites, Avengers: Age of Ultron, then Ant-Man. Then we got Daredevil season 2, Luke Cage season 1, Iron Fist season 1, and The Defenders. So, but we should get that knocked out. I think we'll get all of those knocked out within the next two and a half weeks.
Yeah.
So we should. We're on the grind, man. We are on the grind. But either way, Jordan, tell these folks where they can find you, my friend.
Well, you can find me at Old Tegacy, ULTEGACY. Cover everything sports related. I actually just posted my top 50 quarterbacks of all time list, updated from last year to include all the stats, awards, accolades, and stuff from the 2025 season, as well as just adding other quarterbacks and stuff to compare to. I mean, the list of quarterbacks is the same 50, but just in a different order a little bit. But that was fun. I always love doing it. And I mean, when I'm not getting death threats in the comments, I'm having a fun time making them.
Oh wow!
But that's welcome to social media, everybody. If you want to get into social media, you got to start taking them. But
my opinion is different than yours, so I'm going to give you death threats. That's great.
Of course. That's the internet. And I here's a life lesson to anyone who is doing this. Don't ever take those comments seriously. I mean, I tell people all the time that are getting into marketing or getting into social media that don't even read them. I mean, those are people hiding behind a computer. They're never going to say that to your face. In fact, I've met people who have followed me and have commented very nasty things in person, and then they're like, "Oh, you're actually like a really nice person," and I'm like, "Thanks. Maybe don't comment that ever again." But yeah, just be nice. We can all be nice human beings. Speaking of football, I'm wearing my Patrick Mahomes jersey of that Super Bowl they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles because obviously Peter Quill is from Missouri, so
see what you did there.
So I have two Patrick Mahomes jerseys, but I was like, let me go just put on the one that they lost the Super Bowl to the Philadelphia Eagles, and while I'm at it here, let's take out this shiny little thing right here. Oh wow. Anyways, if you want to look at like some of my movie reviews, some of my if you want to see what I'm posting about and stuff, you can follow me on Instagram or you can follow me on Letterboxd. I just watched The Iron Claw for the first time. What a fantastically tragic film. And in my opinion, I have very high praise for Zac Efron from an acting standpoint after the movie where he played Ted Bundy, but he nailed this movie. This was his best acting performance I've ever seen from him. This movie is just so beautifully powerful. I ended up giving it a 9.5 out of 10. And right now it is my number one film from 2023, taking over The First Omen. But if you haven't seen it, it is amazing. I know I'm 2 years late to the party, but it was such a great movie. I'm probably going to be going to see Scream 7 soon. I have not heard great reviews from that, but let's be honest, do any of the Scream movies have any great reviews outside of the first one? No. So I'm going to have a fun time. But this is always fun. I can't wait to review Daredevil. Daredevil is immaculate.
Love the show, man. Super excited about it. And hey, man, I cannot wait to review it as well. Should be a whole lot of fun and nice way to be petty about those Eagles, man. Way to be petty. I can't wait till my Falcons win. And
that's why I bought this jersey, because I knew it was the jersey they lost. Because every time someone asks, they're like, "Why would you wear that jersey? They lost." I'm like, "Yeah, thank you for reminding me."
Oh, I love it. That's petty at its finest. But hey, man, enjoy it while you can. If my Falcons ever win, I'd probably do the same thing. So we will see. As for me, you can check me out at For My ATL Movies, the number 4 My ATL Movies on YouTube, and you can see this guy as we do this stuff every weekend. If you're in Atlanta sports, come check us out at For My ATL Sports 1, the number 4. My ATL Sports, the number 1 on YouTube as well. We do all of the Atlanta teams, especially when they beat up on the Philadelphia teams and the New Orleans Saints. Love it. Love it. Jordan has 2 teams. We'll explain it another time. But to everybody who joined, thank you. We appreciate you. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be with us. I want to thank that. Thank God for this day. Thank God for sending me this guy and waking me up. And hey, man, Special thanks to Mr. Jack Spade and Eric Parker for giving my start in this business. You guys have an amazing weekend. And yeah, Jordan and I will see you on Sunday. Thanks, everybody.
This movie was about
Lights, camera, action is going down. For my ATL movies, when we run this town with your host, T-Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the class, this was setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of a soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. T-Will, T-Will. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. T-Will, T-Will. Every frame we capture is a real deal. Yeah. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine. Behind the lens.